Alright, you little nuggets. You wanted me to do a video, so I'm doing one. And I got all my questions ready to go on my telephone. So let's kick this pig. Alright, tell us how much you love Sam Jess with adjectives. I love Sam Jess like so much, it's a little stupid. I'm grossly devoted to this pairing. It makes me really happy, like simultaneously really elated and like joyful. Like I feel like really happy whenever I think about it, but at the same time like bone crushingly sad. Um I think that has something to do with the fact that like we see just this really brief glimpse of like how great their relationship was and like how warm and loving and just like honest it was, but it was really short lived. But like that love and that honesty and that, well, not honest, well, honest in that it was very loving and their feelings were very transparent. Like I think some of that, like I like absorb that, like watching them interact, and so it makes me feel happy, but it's also so devastatingly sad. Like, what the fuck? They deserved like a happy ever after, and they didn't get it, and it infuriates me. But that's how much I love it. I love it like so tremendously. Maz asked, "What are my favorite flowers? What would I do if I were Cass's mom for a day? And what was something that made me happy this week?" Okay, so my favorite flowers are gladiolus. Um, I really like violets. I like hydrangea. I like tulips. I like irises. I don't like orchids. I don't like protea, and I don't like begonias. But I like pretty much everything else. Those are the ones I just like not crazy about. Um, yeah. uh, what would I do if I were Cass's mom for a day? I would tell him in a very mom fashion that I was really proud of him, to be be proud of himself, and that I understand that he's struggling and that it's okay, and that he's still like this like fantastic fabulous creature, and then he's just like, I would just like validate his like entire existence. Like just be like, I'm just like really glad that you're like a thing. Like even if you mess up, like I'm just really glad you exist. Like that makes me really happy inside because I'm your mom. I love you. And I would also tell him that there's literally nothing he could do that would make me not love him. Like that's why I'm like I'm Castiel's mom, because my mom always growing up was like, this can sound like so creepy, but my mom's always like, you could like murder someone and I would still love you. And Cass has definitely murdered people and I still love him. And it's like this just crazy, just maternal love. I just love him so much, and he's my child, and I just want the best for him. And I know that he's struggling, and as his mom, I would try and tell him that I understand that and that it's okay to struggle with things. And you don't have to have it right all the time. Life is a this like endless process of fucking up all the time. And anyone who says differently is selling something. Um what was something that made me happy this week? I found my wallet. I had thought for about 3 or 4 days that I had had my wallet stolen because last Friday some punk broke into like 4 or 5 cars on my street, and my brother had borrowed my car and had forgotten to lock the doors, and he had locked my car. Is not an automatic lock. You have to manually lock the driver's door. And he didn't do that. He just like pressed the lever and thought that like all of them would be locked, which is not how it works in my car, because my car is a piece of junk sometimes. But like so some punk came and he rifled through all my shit, and thankfully I like keep basically nothing in my car. Which is really why it was so weird thinking that I had lost my wallet, because, or that it had been taken, because I don't keep my wallet in my car like ever. I'm very, 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 very good about taking it out of my car if it's in my car. Um, but like, there was like no other explanation because I couldn't find it anywhere. And I was really stressed out and really upset about that. And then I found it. I found it between my bed and the wall. I had been like buying something online or paying a bill or something, and it had like fallen behind my bed. And when I found it, when I looked and found it, I could have cried. Like, I was so happy. I was so relieved. I was like, oh, thank God. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. It was a spiritual moment. Okay, Asky asked, what are the first four flowers Cass would plant in a garden and why? And what is your least favorite kind of soda? And if you could live in any one of my AUs, or my AUs, not hers, which one would it be and why? Okay, I was thinking about this question last night. Um, so far, if Cass were to plant a garden, it would be in Kansas where the bunker is. Isn't the bunker's in Kansas, right? Okay, thanks, people not there. If it's in Kansas, then I looked up like different flowers, the kind of flowers I think you would plant, and then I settled on I found a really nice plan for a prairie garden, and because I think Cass's main thing when he plants a garden is not so much to make it like so cohesive. Like he really just wants to like attract birds and butterflies, and he wants to like add to the ecosystem already present, you know? Doesn't want to like take away from that. Um I think the other thing with Cass is he would be like the happiest if he could like convert like his lawn to like meadowland. Like he really just that would make him the happiest. Um but I was looking it up, so like, four flowers that work really well and like that depending on the type of soil, for like a prairie garden are like purple cone flower, which is really, really beautiful, goldenrods, forbs, like the typical forbs that you would think about. Forbs are wildflowers, by the way, in case anybody needed to know that. And what else? Oh, bird's foot violet, which is really pretty. It looks a lot like wood violet, but it's like a lighter blue. Uh, black-eyed Susans, which are my favorite, and the ones that I associate with Dean the most. So like, yeah, that kind of thing. I think that's what he would do. I think he would do something really natural, like, that really like plays into the landscape. I don't know if that was four or not, but that's what you're getting. So yeah. My least favorite kind of pop. I don't know. I don't like. I don't love like Mountain Dew. Like Mountain Dew and what's it, Mellow Yellow. Like those aren't. I don't really like those very much. I don't like root beer if it's too sweet. If it's like really syrupy, like the kind that they sell at like A&W is really, really. It's like syrupy. I don't like that. Um, I'm not can't say I'm a big fan of cream soda, which is really weird considering Big Red is like basically cream soda and it's like my favorite thing in the entire world. But yeah, that's those kinds of things. Like it's like I don't know. I'm mostly okay with like every other kind. I don't like Diet Pop at all. Like gross. I hate the taste of like Diet Coke. It has like the worst aftertaste in the world. It's gross. So yeah, Diet Pop is definitely like my least favorite thing. Like Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi, Diet Dr. Pepper, like so gross. And if I could live in one of my AUs, which one would it be and why? That's a good question. Well, since you're asking the question, Pretty Fun or Ridgeverse, that one's pretty sweet. Not gonna lie, things turned out way on the up in Ridgeverse. Big fan of that. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe like maybe Emma and I's verse our Bear Prince AU just because it's like so it's just like a fairy tale. Like who doesn't want to live in that? um it's so nice. I love all my AUs. I don't think I would necessarily live in most of them because I'm pretty cool with being a real person. Well, at least a sort of real person. Um but yeah, Ridgeverse because it's the most like realistic of all the AUs I have, even though it's like pretty far fetched in some places, like still basically real. Real enough. So I think that one would be pretty cool. Buicker's down maybe just because 70s. I'm totally a fan of the 70s. So like later, which y'all don't know about very much because it's all in my brain and I can never write it down. But that would probably be it. Those are good questions. I don't know. It's hard. Anna asked, "Why do you like to hurt me?" Because you fucking deserve it. Because you ruined my life. And because somebody has to take you down a few notches, Missy. Put on this fluffy pillow of love. Like, you're so great about dusty old stuff, only you're not at all because you suck. I'm sorry, I have to be careful because my cat and my dog are in the same. They're within sight of each other, and that could end up really badly. But they're both asleep right now, so. Can you see? I guess you don't care. Hold on, let me go shut the door so my dog doesn't eat my cat. And now Noodle's like, "Oh, the dog's up here. Noodle, come here. Come here. You stay away from that door, dumbass. Get over here." Anyway, because you deserve it, because you're a terrible, horrible, heinous hell creature. And because that's how arching works. Because you're the Dr. Venture to my monarch. And that's how I like it. I hurt you because you hurt me first. That's really what it comes down to. Tanya asked, things about Supernatural that make me happy. Scenes, relationships, actual happy moments that make me smile really big. Anytime in season 7 at the end there when Cass was talking about like the stuff that like just the like the nature stuff that he talked about, I loved that. That just makes me like, oh my god, you sweetheart. That kind of like gentle Cass vein. I know it's so silly, and I'm sure people are like, you whoopify him so much. Well, shut up. It makes me happy. Shut up. That's what I had to say to you. That makes me really happy. Anytime Dean is like, Kevin, you smart cookie, like that just makes me so happy. Benny makes me really happy. I love Benny so much. Sam and Jess obviously make me really, really happy. I don't know, just like, I mean, there's lots of stuff. I think that there's so many things. Like, you know, every episode there's at least one thing that makes you happy. I think that's like what makes me happiest. This can sound really like kind of a weird thing, but I'm reading Hemingway's Boat right now. And there's something that Paul Hendrickson keeps repeating a lot, which is beauty through chaos, or like through beauty through all the, you know, complications. Like there's always, with Hemingway, I think also with Supernatural, because they're not things that you can easily flatten into like one image. You get these like moments of just like clarity and beauty and humanity, and it's always among like the weird stuff or like the really like not great stuff. And it just reminds you that there's like, you know, more to it than sadness and unhappiness and disenchantment. And that's important to know. You know, it's not easy to always keep that in mind, but I'd say at least once an episode there's something that makes me happy. And like I said, I think that premise is more important than like a single moment, to me at least. But I'm such an optimist most of the time. How am I so adorable? I'm not. I'm really clumsy, and I can't talk, and I shouldn't be like that. Thank you very much for saying that. It's very sweet of you. I'm just me. I'm just me. I'm just the creature Hannah, trying to get it done the best I can, live the most fast life of the rich and famous that I can. But thank you very much. You're a fantastic creature. Fantastic. I said that so weird. What are some things that inspire me, not just for writing, but for life in general? Well, this dude, Mr. Hemingway here, he's a big inspiration in my life. The more I read about him, I'm on about page 200 or so of this biography, and I do want to buy another one after I get it, after I finish this. The more I read about him, the more I'm like, the more you read about Hemingway, the more you realize how aware he is of himself and how cultivated some things are. Like the images that he puts out and the attitudes he has are very, he thinks about them a lot. And, but he also knows when he fucks up. And I think a lot of people don't give him that credit. But he does. He knows. He knows when he messes up. And he's not really good at like straight up apologizing, but he like acknowledges what he's done. And he does it in a very touching way. And it's so clear that like people are so important to him. And like that's really inspiring. Just the fact that like I don't know. I really love Hemingway. He really inspires me. There are some things about him that I see in myself, and I recognize, inspiring. Cass is really inspiring to me. I've said it a million bajillion trillion times, but he is. I identify with Cass a lot too, and Cass helps me love myself, which is really hard for me to do most days. But through him, I'm allowed to love myself, or I justify loving myself, because of the things that I see that we have in common. This is getting like really rambly. I'm so sorry if y'all are bored. Oh my God. What else is inspiring? My mom's really inspiring. She's been through a lot in her life. My grandmother, my Scotty grandma, is really inspiring. She has had like so much tragedy in her life and so much pain, and she's still like one of the coolest people I've ever met. I don't know, just like people. People are really inspiring. And like this like constant pursuit of like truth and what it means to be honest and this like evolving concept of those. Like that's really inspiring. I don't know, people. I'm like Hemingway, dude. Like people. They're so cool. They're just so cool. Even when they suck, they're so cool. So that's what I would say is really inspiring. Just like the lives around me. Jenna asked me like 10 million questions. What is my Hogwarts house? How did I choose it? How was it chosen? My Hogwarts house is Hufflepuff. And that's because that's the only one that made sense. And yellow is one of my favorite colors. Like literally that's really all that was about. Hufflepuff just seems like the place to be. Like, that's where I want to be. So that's what I would have said if the Sorting Hat was put on my head. I would have been like, put me in Hufflepuff. And they would have been like, okay, Hannah. So, what is a popcorn fascist? Okay, so Liz and I, and Chris and I have a middle school AU. And then whenever I went to visit the Corrupted Choir, one Chris, to clarify. When I went to go visit Liz in Richmond, we spent, like, I'm not kidding you, like 3 hours laughing about middle school AU for Dean and Cass and Benny and stuff. And one of the things that we were laughing about was that Gabriel would have to like chaperone like taking them to the movies or something. And he'd be like, he'd take them to the movies and stuff and like buying popcorn or whatever. And like Dean would just give Cass so much shit about the popcorn. Like Cass would be like, stop eating it all before the previews even play. Like, that's for the movie. And Dean would be like, wow, Cass, you're a popcorn fascist. You're trying to totally just, why are you in charge of the popcorn? Like, you're such a dictator. And like we just talked about that for like a million years. And it was really funny because Dean's butt, and Cass would get really frustrated and take it all really seriously because he cares about history and stuff. And that's basically what a popcorn fascist is. It means that you're a goober. It means you're a dork. You're a dweeb. A little middle school dweeb. That's what it means. Let's see. Jenna asked me, what is my guilty pleasure music? Like really cheesy 70s like love songs. You're the Biggest Part of Me by Ambrosia is like basically my favorite song in the entire world. Like the more synth and like major chords and like sappy falsetto, like the better. Like I love it so much. I'm really big into that kind of thing. Like just a really schmaltzy kind of stuff, but not like Celine Dion. I don't like Celine Dion. It has to be like guys singing, like bands like Ambrosia or like the Bee Gees, like that kind of stuff. So that's like my guilty pleasure music. Yeah. Oh, hi Noodle. Um, Jenna also asked, "Who's my all-time favorite big bad from Supernatural?" Probably Lilith was pretty dang cool. Definitely digging Lilith. She was one of my favorites. I have to say Lilith is my favorite. Lilith is really fucking cool. Um, yeah, Lilith. She was cool. Um, have I read The Courtyard Hound? No, because it'll never get written. And if you've read City of Thieves, you understand that. If I could get a free trip to one country other than my own, which would I choose and why? I really, 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 really want to go to Hungary. I really want to go to Budapest, like so badly. I think it's so beautiful. And I love the language, I love the culture and the history, and I think it's really cool. So definitely Hungary. Also Austria, because I'm also digging it. I'm really into like Habsburg, like the drama there. Like some people really like the Tudors. I really like the Habsburgs. They were crazy. Um, but yeah, those are the two top places that I have for the moment. I want to go a lot of places though. What is my favorite beverage, alcoholic or otherwise? Well, my favorite beverage is Big Red, which is a cream soda that tastes like as close as you can get to Faygo Red Pop down here in Texas. It's so good. A lot of people think it tastes like cough syrup, and I'm pretty sure like my mom and I are like the only two people I know who actually drink it. So, but I'm so addicted. I love Big Red. But like my favorite is like going to White Castle and getting some sliders and getting some onion chips and getting a fucking Faygo Red Pop. That is where it is at. It is so good. Like I dream about that all the time. If you don't know if you don't know what's up with that, you're like something's wrong with you because it's so delicious. My favorite alcoholic beverage is gin and tonics with basil and mint in them. Or my muffin grandpa makes like the best Tom Collins you will ever drink. Um, Dogs or cats? I gotta go with cats because they don't bark. Dogs bark, and that's really annoying. But also, my cat wakes me up at like 5 a.m. every morning and tries to kill me. So, um, both, I guess. What is my opinion of small fat birds? I am so for them. I'm so pro small fat birds. Where does my blog title come from? My blog title comes from uh, the Beastie Boys album, Paul's Boutique, which was a total market failure and then became like basically the best American produced album of all time. Um, Such a good album. Holy Toledo. Um, but the name Ask for Janice comes from the title track, which is at the end of it, which is not actually music. Can you come here? It's not actually music. It's a voiceover of a guy narrating, or of a guy doing a radio ad, and he says, what does he say exactly? The best in men's clothing. Call up Paul's Boutique. Ask for Janice. So, you know, you're supposed to like call Paul's Boutique for the best in men's clothing. You're supposed to ask for Janice. Then he reads the number off, and then he says that's Paul's Boutique, and they're in Brooklyn. And then it goes into Bouillabaisse or Bouillabaisse or whatever it is. But yeah, that's where it comes from. It's like my favorite album ever. I listen to it like literally every week. And if you're my friend, you will at one point listen to it in my car. Like, it's basically like a rite of passage that you will listen to Paul's Boutique with me in my car and listen to me badly rap, like, all the lyrics like an MC. But that's where it comes from. Ask for Janice. The dude's voice is so cool. That's the best in men's clothing. But that's like the, where it comes from. Paul's Boutique was actually, I can't remember if they actually made it up or not. Like, I think it was an actual place. But if you look on the album cover, the Paul's Boutique didn't have a sign. They put the sign up themselves, and all the stuff, like, in the front of the store is their stuff. So it's like, MCA's and Ad Rock and Mike D's. That's all their shit that's in the front. That kind of thing, which is awesome. And they actually are at the end of the street. If you look at the panoramic shot, they're like standing at the end of the street. So cool. They were so cute. Oh my god. What am I most proud of about myself? I'm an extremely patient person. Like, it takes so much for me to like lose patience. I'm also really tolerant, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. It's good because I'm really quick to give people the benefit of the doubt and like actually think about why people are acting the way that they act. It's bad because sometimes that means I get like bulldozed. And I let things like go on too long. Could you not do that? Thank you. But I'm really patient. I'm really tolerant. And the person who taught me how to be that way was my brother. My brother is basically the most like mean person in my life, and he taught me to like be patient and be tolerant, and I still have to exercise that. And sometimes I fail with him. Like, I sometimes am not very patient or tolerant with Sam. How much do I love you? Kimber asked me that. I love you so much, and I haven't talked to you lately, and I keep thinking about texting you and asking you what's up. But I keep being a goober and forgetting. So probably after I'm done making this, I'm going to ask you what's going on in your life so I can make sure you're okay. What's my favorite thing to cook or bake? Please explain how it's made. My favorite thing to cook is spaghetti because I'm really good at it, and it's my favorite food. All you do is you boil the water and you cook some hamburger in the pan. And then you, after you've drained the hamburger meat, you add a can. Well, at school I can't afford fancy spaghetti sauce, so I just use ragu. But here at home, I can make it with Classico and a can of Classico, like onion herb stuff, and then a can of Paul Newman Sakatuni sauce. You mix those together, you put them both in with the hamburger, and you let it simmer for like 10-15 minutes, and then you put that on the sauce. Oh, best thing to make. I'm also really good at making shortbread. I discovered that this semester. I'm really good at making shortbread. Yeah. And the last one, it looks like, so y'all can, oh wait, no, I lied. What is my fondest childhood memory? I was at my Aunt Helen's, my great Aunt Helen's funeral, and my great Aunt Helen is my Scotty grandma's aunt too. It's weird because they're really close together in age. But I was at her funeral. Pardon me. I was at her funeral, and I was probably 9 or 10, and I met one of my grandmother's cousins. His name was Benjamin. And he was an older dude. He was like, like a grandparent's age. And I'd never met him before in my life. And I don't know what it was. Maybe it was a situation or what, but we were like two peas in a pod for like the entire time. Like, you would have thought that I was his granddaughter. Like, I sat on his lap and followed him around everywhere and held his hand and like was hanging on him like the entire time, and we had like never met before in our lives. And but I don't know, we just like had this like really great kinship, and I'll always remember like he God, I must have been younger. I must have been like 8 or 9 actually, because I remember being really little, and I just remember it was cold outside and he gave me his big suit jacket to wear, and I sat on his lap like the entire reception after the funeral service, and I don't know, we just like were inseparable, and I just remember he and I just being very close, just for that really, 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 really brief amount of time. And it's just a very vivid memory. And he's unfortunately passed away, but I will always remember him very, 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 very fondly. And he was very sweet to me and very kind to me. And that's like probably like my top 10 memories like ever. Probably like my number one memory ever. Just because when you meet someone and you just like instantly like just feel really close to them, like that's so nice. And really that's like worth remembering. So that's a really good memory I have of my childhood. What are my top 5 animes, mangas, and TV shows besides SPN or Supernatural? I read a lot of like obscure shoujo manga when I was in school. Bokura ga Ita, Parfait, Kami-sama Hajimemashita, anything by Suzuki Julieta, I really loved. Kokori Odette was really good. That was the other one about the demon who like wanted sweets all the time. Akuma to Dochie, I really liked that one. Oran, definitely Oran. Fruits Basket, I'm definitely saying more than 5. I think that's it for like manga and stuff. Those are the ones that I really kept up with. Naruto, I'm sad to say. It's like crack. I like started it and couldn't stop. And what was TV shows? Right now, Hannibal is really good. Hell's Kitchen, or not Hell's Kitchen, Kitchen Nightmares with Gordon Ramsay. I'm addicted to that show. I really like that show. Crap. I don't really watch that much TV. I'm really into, well, I'm gonna be into tennis once it starts up again. Rafa, Rafa Nadal, David Federer. Those are my babes. And man, can't think. Seinfeld. We watch Seinfeld like every night. Arrested Development. Seinfeld is really funny. We really like Seinfeld at my house. Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction, hosted by Jonathan Frakes. That's my show. Star Trek, the original series. And just for fun, I Survived. And Celebrity Ghost Stories. Those are all really good shows. So those are my faves, other than Supernatural. But yeah. Thank you for the questions. They were super fun. Hope you're not too bored of me. And I kept it under 45 minutes. Okay, so I will see you soon.